Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from YourBlackWorld.com, and I wanted to have a quick rap session with my homegirl, my partner in crime, Miss Yvette Carnell. I got Yvette on the line. How you doing today, Yvette?
Pretty good. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. I'm actually driving now. I'm on the road, so if people want to know why we have choppy audio, it's because we are just incredibly unprofessional because we believe in substance over style, and we get it done by any means necessary. Yvette, did you see that by chance the article today that Juan Williams wrote where he was basically saying that black people don't like conservatives just because they're conservative? They don't like black Republicans just because they're black Republicans for the most part. Did you see that by chance?
I did. I saw it.
Yeah, first of all, I took issue with the article, not just because he dissed me in the article, but that's expected. Juan and I don't have a good relationship, and we never will. I don't want to be his friend. But, I took some issue with this whole blanket condemnation that black people don't like black Republicans just because they're incapable of understanding those individuals in the community who are enlightened enough to join up with Newt Gingrich, Rush Limbaugh, and all these other people that might as well put a hood on their head and burn a cross in their front yard. What is your take on Juan Williams, first of all, and why do you think Juan?
I don't necessarily disdain Juan Williams, but I think that he's one of those guys who plays that center right position, as a way of kind of moving forward in life. I don't think there's a lot of substance to his position, so. Really that kind of thing is to be expected because, if you want to go and find somebody who's on the news who will defend, modern republicanism, modern conservatism in terms of the Tea Party rhetoric, then Juan Williams is your go-to guy. But when he talks about how black people feel about black Republicans, it really bothers me because, black people understand. There are a lot of black people who are kind of conservative. There were black people who voted for George W. Bush the first time. That's not it. Like the reason that we have disdain for a lot of Republicans, black Republicans, is because of how they allow themselves to be used by the Republican Party in the sense that they're just kind of ornaments and trinkets, in the party as opposed to like real players. I mean, if you really look at J.C. Watts in Congress, this guy was doing his thing. But he never really, they were never going to make him House Majority Leader. They were never going to put him in a real leadership position, So you look at it and you think, wow, these guys are there. They're in the Republican Party, but, they really don't have any power. They just have, the R behind their names and they just do their thing. And you really feel like they're not a part of what they're doing. And then you look at it and you say to yourself, when you say, like, even when you look at Tim Scott supported a bill which would get black people or get people in general off of, food stamps or whatever if they were members of a union. When you look at what they do a lot of times, you think about it and you say, well, I think this is detrimental to black people, and that's why I don't support you. It's not about just not liking conservatives. I mean, black people are principled people too, and we have principles that we believe in, and most of those principles aren't in line with the Republican Party.
Well, that I have a confession to make. I actually have black people in my family who voted for Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. That's how deep the conservatism runs in my hood. And you know what else, Yvette? Another confession. I don't hate them for it. I don't think they're stupid. I don't think those relatives are just out of their damn minds. I think that they just have a point of view that is as legitimate as the rest of us, and I think that they care about the black community. They believe it or not, there are black folks who support the Republican Party because they believe that those values are best for the black community. And I don't fault those individuals. I think a great example of a Republican that everybody respects is Colin Powell. I think Colin Powell, I think he could have beaten Barack Obama in the 2008 election. I really do. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Juan sort of, throwing this sort of blanket condemnation out onto the black community, it only feeds into the perception of right-wing arrogance that said, look, these Negroes are so damn ignorant that they don't know better. They just dumb slaves on a plantation. And I think that, that's something that, he could sit next to Sean Hannity and make that statement, and Sean would be nodding his head. We know Sean's a racist. He could be sitting next to Rush Limbaugh saying that. Rush Limbaugh will be nodding his head. We know Rush Limbaugh is a racist. So the fact that you are out here promoting messages and standing, cleaning up behind these people that are clear enemies of progress, of racial progress, that's what makes people not like you. Because you're being well paid by Fox News to promote the agenda of an organization that we know does not have the interests of black people at heart. Fox News represents the segment of American history that has not wanted to see black people advance. They don't support equality. So I think that Juan in his critique was certainly misguided. His critique about me, I don't care about that because I feel like Juan's never going to like me. And I'm never really going to like him that much. But I think that what he said is off base, and I think it's okay to be conservative. In fact, that's one of my issues with the liberals. And you and I have had conversations like this, where you and I actually have some conservatism in our own backgrounds, which lead us to be annoyed with some of the things that we see on MSNBC and some of the liberal bases. So I think that black people are kind of stuck in this weird space where we have to pick a side, and we really don't know which side that we want to be on. And, and we choose the liberals because they're not nearly as detrimental as the Republicans are. Yvette, I'll let you get the last word. What is your take as far as
I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with that, because the thing is, it's funny to me that he called you out in terms of, not liking conservatives, because you and I both have criticized Obama for a very long time. But all of a sudden, if we criticize a black Republican, we just don't like Republicans. Is that what happened? So, it's kind of this thing, you just want to jump to the defense of Tim Scott. But what you didn't say anything of, you weren't that vocal. You didn't mention in the article that, these people have really, Boyce Watkins has really criticized Obama, of course, because that doesn't speak to your narrative. And I want to say this, too. Like I said, we have a history of black conservatism, in the history of kind of like what Booker T. Washington was trying to push. And we never really had that much of a problem with it. Yeah, there were some in our community who were like, yeah, they're Uncle Tom, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, if you got Republicans, black Republicans and black liberals in a room, they were cool. The problem now is, though, you have Republicans, black Republicans, who instead of just being people who are in favor of the market, who have a different idea of what will help black people, instead of that, you have Republicans now who are doing the bidding of white people, who, when Rush Limbaugh says something racist, won't speak out. Who, when Herman Cain came out and said, that thing, that rock that, the Governor Perry had at his house, they had the N-word, when he came out and said that was wrong, they treated him like a kid, and took him to the woodshed. It's things like that we see, and we say, no, we're not cool with that. So, again, Juan Williams misses all the complexities in the argument, just throws something out there so people can have some Republicans can have some red meat, because that's what he does.
Yeah, I think so. He's earning his paycheck with Fox. I remember when Mark Lamont Hill was working with Fox, and Mark was actually maintaining his ground as a legitimate liberal. They got Mark out of there. They pretty much smeared him to the point that he was fired. Juan has kept his job. Juan makes a lot more money than a lot of people make. And it's because he's doing a very good job of defending Massa's house. And that's why Juan is not respected as conservative. I think that if Juan were an independent conservative and was out doing his thing and saying, I'm doing this because I really care about the black community and standing up against the racists that are out here, I think people would respect him. And that's the difference between Juan Williams and Colin Powell. People love Colin Powell as much as they love Barack, but Juan Williams is bottom of the basement, and he earned that spot. It took him a lot of years to get that low on the totem pole. So thank you very much, Yvette. I really appreciate your time. And thank you all for checking us out at YourBlackWorld.com. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.